Alrighty, just made a video on the update, but I'm gonna make a little short video regarding little discussion overview on the simulation I did on the F16 on MATLAB. I do want to note, I don't know if any of you watching this saw the description, but I did not provide the file link for NASA, for the NASA environment aspects, because this gives specific environments of the Ural Mountains, which are in northern Russia. So the code was, the MATLAB situation was mainly orientated for a simulation of the F16 in electronic warfare. And how was that? I used certain players were the F16, a UAV, unmanned aerial vehicle, kind of similar to the Q929, Q9, yeah, like the drone. MIDS LVT Link 16 terminal rugged system with a frequency of 980 megahertz per and then did 1.15 kilobytes per second data rate, and an ITU as in the Kurashko 4 jamming system, Russian jamming system. Those were the players, and the charts show the signal integrity, the communication link power usage affected by these environment aspects. What the environment was high terrain, dense forestry with oak and spruce, which are abundant in the mountains in Russia. There was 5 Kurashka 4 jammers. They were all spread out horizontally in a 5-mile radius, approximately. 5-mile radius, 5-mile displacement. And there were a couple that were elevated incredibly high, which about 15,000 feet up above sea level, which seems quite high, yes. But the UAV has a pre-simulation from the F16. So here's the simulation starts. The F16 is at an altitude of 50,000 feet, which is cruising altitude. And once it reaches, which it starts on, reaches 200 nautical miles, that point from the Kurashka 4, note this is not tangential, this is X, just linearly, it's just from the F16 here, point down, we mark it, and we go linearly in the X direction to Kurashka. That's 200 nautical miles. Then the F16 presses and connects and initializes a link to the UAV, and for final execution to go towards the Kurashka 4, and it moves as a very unpredictable manner. It has electronic defense systems, encryption, as well as many other aspects to get as realistic as possible. And as it moves closer to every per 0.1 measured second and a duration of 600 seconds, there is an interchange of the signal and power usage. So the Kurashka 4, they're still searching for it, and once it comes in a nautical range, which is the distance, not 200 nautical miles, it uses max power. But the thing is, there is frequency balancing, signal balancing, and all this other stuff that are affecting the signal. So there's counteract that the UAV does is frequency hopping, and as well as cutting off the signal of the F16. And there is blind movements on the chart. It shows where it's going up and down, up and down, up and down. And there's a period of time, I forgot what period, I think it's between the 400 second range, where the signal drops to, it just becomes blind and doesn't receive any data back with F16. So that's a little rundown, and signal integrity does drop. So that's a little faulty, I'm seeing. Yeah, that's a little overview of the simulation on MATLAB.